Prince William doubles down. According to multiple sources, it's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal titles.
Trademarking Duchess of Sussex in changing her legal last name from Markle to Duchess of Sussex, not as a title, but as a last name. It doesn't make her royal. It doesn't make her regal. It doesn't make her HRH. It doesn't give her prestige. It only makes her look desperate and pathetic. And what is she going to do?
New York Post the other day about how Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are going to have no role when Prince William becomes king. And he's already planning this out. And it's really not so much that he said they are not going to have roles. He's just not mentioning them at all.
No negotiation, no hesitation, just a future king stepping up and making it clear that the titles are getting cut and the countdown already started the moment he opened his mouth. It finally landed. The day Harry always hoped would stay far away. The day he kept brushing off like it was never coming. No more hints, no more soft warnings floating around palace rooms, no more vague whispers from sources say.
Very determined to try and make his father be tough, not just on Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, the former Duchess of York, but also on Harry and Meghan. And of course,
today, Prince William switched from stressed-out brother to full future king mode, and he did it without even a drop of softness. Insiders say William laid everything out straight. Harry and Meghan are set to lose their titles. It's not a question anymore, only timing, and that timing is way closer than they ever expected. William's new vision for the monarchy is already forming, and even in its early stages, it's shaking up half the family tree. The message sliding through royal circles is loud and simple. The era of endless titles, cushy perks, and people coasting off royal name value is getting shut down. William is crafting a version of the monarchy that's tight, disciplined, and protected from the kind of messes that nearly pulled the whole institution into chaos over the last 30 years. This new structure isn't cute. It isn't gentle. It's a full sweep. William wants a roster of working royals who actually show up and add something real. Not distant cousins strolling around in luxury coats while soaking up status they didn't earn. And yes, that includes Beatrice and Eugenie. Not because he dislikes them, but because they represent the old system. A system built on inherited shine without a real job behind it.
His title, that wasn't enough. So 2 weeks later, we had this letters patent, which completely changed the way that royal titles can now be removed in the future. And there is this growing consensus backed up by this new News Nation report.
William watched too many disasters play out because the monarchy was packed with people treating it like a side gig. Andrew pushed boundaries. Fergie found ways to cash in. And Harry and Meghan turned royal prestige into a core part of their Hollywood identity while taking shots at the family on global platforms. So now William is stepping into a territory Charles never dared to enter. He's shutting the door on royal entitlement for good. He's drawing a real line now. Titles aren't fashion accessories, they're responsibilities, and William is done letting people carry labels they're not working for. Once this new system locks in, Harry and Meghan won't just lose the titles, they'll lose the whole illusion that they still belong to the same world they've spent years walking away from. Inside the palace, the quiet truth is that Charles set this all in motion long before William stepped in. For years, Charles led with optimism, hoping every scandal would just calm down on its own if he stayed patient and diplomatic. He let Andrew slide through with charm. He let Fergie weave in and out of the family's resources. And when Harry and Meghan launched their rebellion, he responded with patience instead of real boundaries. That patience slowly turned into weakness, and that weakness grew into a problem only William could fix. Charles believed in harmony. He thought being calm would eventually make everyone settle down. He didn't realize some members of the family thrived off chaos, and that his soft approach made them feel free to act however they wanted. Andrew kept spiraling, Fergie kept hustling opportunities, and Harry and Meghan turned every interview, every speech, and every public moment into a stage for dramatic takes and emotional pressure. By the time Charles finally understood how heavy the damage was, William had already made his decision. He could see the monarchy bending under scandals that should have been handled years ago. He knew if someone didn't step up, the whole institution could collapse the next time a surprise interview or documentary dropped. So now William has to be the strict one.
The Duke title from Prince Harry. They had a formal petition and asked Parliament to remove the Duke titles. And they responded that Parliament has nothing to do with royal titles.
The enforcer, the one pulling away privileges his father never touched. And while Charles is still trying to keep everyone calm and connected, William is quietly building a monarchy that refuses to repeat past mistakes. Harry can be upset all he wants, but the days of gentle, soft handling at palace level are finished. People act like this entire situation is complicated, but inside the palace the reason is extremely clear. Harry and Meghan didn't just walk away, they kept pushing harder, louder, and longer than anyone who stepped back before them. They moved to a new continent, stepped out of royal duties, and then spent years criticising the system that originally gave them their platform, while still benefiting from the fame attached to their names. That combination is dangerous for any monarchy trying to survive today. William studied their behaviour carefully, almost like a surgeon examining a spreading issue. Every documentary, every podcast, every polished sit-down added to the stack. And instead of cooling down or fixing bridges, Harry and Meghan turned their frustrations into a full business strategy.
That all of that is up to the monarch. And they are right. This is in writing from Parliament. This is in response to the cries and demands from people to remove and strip those titles.
Family moments, private conversations, personal feelings, everything became content for them to repurpose whenever it fit. So William drew the only line that made sense. The titles have to go. Not because he wants revenge, not because he wants to punish them, but because it's the only protective move left. Those titles give Harry and Meghan a level of credibility that doesn't match how far they've moved from royal responsibility. The titles open doors, spark headlines, and give weight to stories that can embarrass the institution. William isn't letting that cycle continue. He watched the monarchy nearly drown under Andrew's messes, Fergie's constant opportunism, and decades of unchecked royal issues. He's not letting another pair drag the institution into more global humiliation. Harry and Meghan didn't just leave, they kept one foot inside the royal world while using the other foot to speed up the drama. That's why William is removing that foot entirely. Then came the part that hit Harry harder than anything else. Losing his own title would hurt. Losing Meghan's would cause shockwaves. But realising the restructuring includes his children, that shook him deeply. William's clean-up plan stretched all the way across the ocean into Harry's new life. It cracked the illusion that his new world was protected from palace decisions. But from William's perspective, the logic is straightforward and practical. You can't raise children far away from the monarchy, completely disconnected from royal duties, and still expect them to carry titles that imply a working connection to the institution. Those titles become instruments, branding tools, power tools, media leverage, and William has spent years watching what happens when the wrong person uses a royal title to push into places they shouldn't be. He also understands something Harry never wants to admit. Titles without responsibility eventually create turmoil. Andrew proved that. Fergie thrived on it. And now Harry and Meghan appear determined to extend that same dysfunctional pattern into the next generation, all while raising their children in a world that treats royalty as spectacle. William sees the long-term picture clearly. Leave those titles untouched, and one day they become tools in the hands of two teenagers, raised far from royal structure, shaped by California culture, and possibly encouraged by Meghan to treat royal identity as a platform. So William is cutting the issue before it grows teeth. Harry now sees reality settling in. This is not a debate inside a family. This is restructuring, and William is committed to winning the long game. Angela Levin didn't soften anything. She spoke with the bluntness of someone who has observed this saga deteriorate
Andrew's
from the inside.
scandals.
Her take landed like a strike. Harry and Meghan didn't simply wander away from royal life. They launched themselves out with behaviour the monarchy hasn't had to navigate in decades. For her, none of this was shocking. It was the natural conclusion. The complaints, the accusations, the emotional theatrics timed for maximum impact, the relentless need to control public perception. Every move built pressure until the only outcome was titles being taken off the table. The harshest part of her analysis focused on Harry's transformation. She described him as unrecognisable, competitive to an extreme, reactive in a way he never used to be, and constantly trying to overshadow William to keep Meghan satisfied. His sudden last-minute offers of help whenever cameras appeared only made it look more hollow. From her perspective, Meghan wants the title for one reason: leverage. Not duty, not tradition, not service. Leverage, something she can present in political rooms, entertainment offices, or philanthropic spaces when she wants doors to open faster. Her conclusion was sharp. They removed themselves through their own choices. William isn't retaliating. He's simply restoring order and locking the gate to a garden they set on fire. The moment Meghan sensed the title slipping, insiders say she reacted with the panic of someone watching her entire identity shift. Losing the titles isn't symbolic for her, it's structural. Those titles are her shield, her entry pass, her social currency. Without them, she becomes another former actress navigating an industry that discards yesterday's names without hesitation. Her pushback has been intense. She has protested, signalled frustration, hinted at legal angles, and suggested she won't allow the removal to happen. The pattern is familiar. When challenged, she escalates, positions herself as the wronged figure, and leans on legal intimidation to keep pressure on others. It worked with executives, it worked with producers, it even worked with Harry. But for the first time, she's facing a future king who cannot be moved. The deeper issue is her misunderstanding of how royal titles function. They aren't assets. They aren't personal property. They aren't something she can defend like a brand. Titles exist only with the crown's approval, and the crown is currently led by a man who is done being patient.
That he does exactly the same. And we can't have him going round. We can't have him going round to somewhere where William is going round and he sort of rushes to be there first, so he looks good, and he then says to his father, look, I can be really helpful in Canada.
Her greatest fear is losing the spotlight, and losing the titles brings her closer to that reality. Meanwhile, Harry stands caught between two worlds: the wife he wants to defend, preparing for a fight she cannot win, and the brother he walked away from now, standing firm with a clarity Harry didn't see coming. One of the strongest criticisms surrounding their California life isn't scandal, it's the tightly managed bubble around their children. The secrecy feels overwhelming. No extended family, no cousins, no connection to the heritage their titles represent. Everything appears orchestrated, every appearance filtered, every detail controlled. To William, this signals something far more worrying than any streaming interview. He grew up under scrutiny, but he also grew up attached to duty, history, and relatives. In contrast, their children are being raised in a world curated like a production environment, where royalty is a whisper, not a lived reality. He sees a contradiction forming. Children growing up completely outside the monarchy while holding titles linked to responsibilities they will never experience. That's a path that leads to identity conflict, resentment, and public confusion later in life. William refuses to watch that unfold. From his perspective, the titles don't reflect the life they are living. You can't raise children in a secluded mansion, shield them from their own relatives, and expect them to grow into representatives of the crown. Removing the titles isn't punishment, it's prevention. He'd rather protect them from future struggle than allow them to enter adulthood trapped between two incompatible worlds. There is one chapter in royal history William will never repeat: the Andrew and Fergie collapse. That saga was a slow-moving disaster, shaped by indulgence, avoidance, and a monarchy afraid to confront hard truths. The institution watched as scandal piled on scandal, and royal access became something traded. William grew up watching that fallout. He remembers the embarrassment, the headlines, the damage to the crown's reputation, and how easily all of it could have been avoided if someone had simply acted sooner. He sees echoes of that pattern now. Harry and Meghan are financially driven, publicity-centred, and fully willing to reveal private family tensions when it serves their narrative. The polished California branding may look refined, but William recognises the risk instantly. He has already lived through the worst version of that story. Removing the titles now isn't personal, it's strategic. It's the move Charles never made early enough with Andrew. William refuses to inherit a monarchy held together by optimism and luck. He's removing the seeds of future scandal before they sprout. It's the difference between cleaning a mess and preventing one. Harry and Meghan still think this is a family conflict. William is safeguarding the institution. When word reached Harry that William had hardened his stance, something shifted within him. This wasn't frustration. This was heartbreak. For years, Harry believed that eventually everything would settle. One day, Harry believed William would soften. One day he thought the door back home would still be open, but today shattered that dream with a snap. This was the moment he finally understood these weren't passing disagreements. This was structure. This was the monarchy reshaping itself without him in the room. William wasn't reacting from hurt. He was operating like a leader building the future. And for the first time, Harry saw himself fully on the outside of a world he once assumed would always be his. Those titles weren't just labels. They were identity, history, the final thread tying him to the life he left behind but never truly released. Losing them means losing that last piece of the old Harry. It means accepting that he made a choice he can't walk back from, no matter how much he wishes otherwise. For Meghan, this feels like a branding emergency, but for Harry, it cuts deeper. It's emotional. He may have stepped away, but he always believed William would keep at least one bridge standing. Now he's watching that bridge crumble right in front of him, and he can't stop it. William has moved forward, the institution is moving forward, and Harry is trapped between two identities, the life he chose and the life he lost. This isn't a family fight anymore. This is a coronation unfolding, power shifting, and Harry is realizing what it truly means when the crown stops waiting for him. If you're feeling the heat of this royal twist, hit like, subscribe, share the video, and drop a comment below.